The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel welcomes you to this edition of the Mayors and Supervisors Weekly Update, brought to you by...
Each week, our community makes history. Each week, you make history. And each week, there's only one source to turn to for the first take on history. You know what that is? Subscribe to the Sentinel right now to discover the history being made in your own backyard.
The Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. More than just your news, it's your history.
Hey, welcome everyone to this week's version of the Mayors and Supervisors Update. I'm Chris Carosa, publisher of the Mendon-Honeoye Falls-Lima Sentinel. And each week, we bring you the goings-on in the towns and villages around our coverage area. This week, we'll start out with Jerry in the town of Rush. Jerry, how are we doing in Rush?
We are doing fine in Rush. We are the best kept secret in Western New York, and we are holding to that handle. So, I'm going to surprise all of our audience with the introduction of Deputy Supervisor Amber Corbin, who will replace me on this broadcast next week and the week after. I think it's time for her to get her feet wet and some other things. So Amber will be joining you. She's a lot nicer than I am, and you will enjoy that. And I will send to you, Chris, her email so that she can log into your Zoom account. The next thing I wanted to mention was we are deeply entrenched in the budget, and it's going fairly well. We're trying to figure out things, and Mike just helped me a little bit with his proposal for a 4% increase in Lima. I think that we're going to be near that, but I don't know how near. And the budget process isn't anywhere near completed yet, but sometime between now and when we get the final budget numbers, we'll probably come around 4 or 5%. Don't know where. I know I've mentioned water before. Rick Milne offered to run a water line from Honeoye Falls down number 6 road into Rush, but the water authority wouldn't agree with that. So we've got a all hands water meeting coming up. I believe it's on October 6th. Everyone is invited. We have representatives from the Water Authority, from MRB, from Clough Harbor, our town board, our town attorney, and yours truly, who will be there, and we'll try to get everybody on the same page as far as establishing a water district and what's involved. It's a very complicated issue, as all of you know, and when we've got some people saying one thing and others saying another thing, it's confusing for residents who are hoping for better water. I talked to the recreation director. She said that everything is smooth in recreation. She's looking forward to the kids coming back to school so that some of her recreation programs for kids can be launched once again. The highway department, they've done a couple of roads, especially Fishell Road. I thought that was a great job on Fishell Road. And they probably will be wrapping up pretty soon. And then what comes? Well, what comes is prepping the snow removal equipment, which I wish they could avoid for 1 year, but they can't. So that's about all I got to report on, Chris.
All right, Jerry, thanks. And since the print edition sometimes doesn't get humor as well as the video edition, when you talk about the Rick Milne thing, we'll just put a JK in parentheses around it, or just kidding, that sort of thing.
I was going to say that, Chris. I appreciate that because I don't want my residents coming back saying, "Hey, what are you promising to Supervisor Jerry?"
Well,
Jerry, I'd love to help you if I could.
For those of you who are first-time watchers of this show, that's an ongoing joke, so that you know, it's an inside baseball kind of humor here. But you only know that if you watch every week. So
There you go.
thanks a lot, Jerry. Mike,
Thank you.
Town of Lima, how are we doing there?
Well, things are going pretty well here in Lima right now, Chris. Of course, budget season is going on. Jerry did allude to, we were talking personnel costs before the meeting. We did set up a 4% raise pool here in Lima for the budget. We will be underneath the 2% cap this year. The giant formula that helps figure everything out, we had some increases in housing values and other things that helped offset the rest of the budget, so I could drop the percentage way down. Healthcare costs for us are going up 2.74%. Next year is a reval year for the assessor's office. So every 4 years, there's a 50% increase in their hours. And that looks like a huge increase in their budget, but it's actually just more time. It goes back down the following year. And we do get a tiny amount of money back from New York State for actually doing the reval. Doesn't quite offset it, but almost completely, but we wouldn't see that until the following year. Town insurance probably up about 10%, it looks like. And I still expect to have the tentative budget presented at the September 7th board meeting. The water interest survey is still going on here in the town of Lima. If you live here in the township and you do not have public water, please take the survey. Lima-newyork.org is our website. There's a survey tab, takes 5 minutes, asks you questions about how much bottled water you buy. Are you hauling water in a tank behind your Subaru with a basketball stuffed in the top because you lost the cover? Those kinds of things. So please go ahead and take the survey, and we'll have the results tabulated next month. If you're unable to use the computer, of course, you're probably not watching this, but you may be reading it in the newspaper. You can always call the clerk and get a survey, but again, we're closing it out on August 31st. So, and that's all I've got, Chris.
All right, thanks, Mike. We're on a roll today, guys. So, Rick, how are we doing in Honeoye Falls?
Oh, we're doing good, Chris. It's great to see everybody. And, I'd like to keep this roll going. I was going to say we have so much water, I don't know what to do with it, but no, it's, things are going well. We continue to, be in close contact with the Honeoye Falls Mendon ambulance chief and our fire department chief regarding any upticks with the COVID variant and those things that we have to continue to watch over. We are talking more and more about asking people to consider wearing their mask when they come into the village office, etc., just to be as safe as we can be. But we have not mandated that at this point in time. And I think it's really, one of those things where we just have to do and act how we feel best for ourselves and just keep other folks in mind. So it is a concern out there for sure. Numbers do continue to go up a little bit, but we're doing okay locally overall. Again, as I mentioned again last week, we did have a great concert this past Tuesday. We do have a bunch of concerts being made up through the month of September. And we're going to finish with a large concert as of right now on Sunday, the 26th, with Steve Grills and the Roadmasters. We're potentially going to have that at Harry Allen Park still, but we're trying to set up potentially a rain date or a rain area where we could move it down to the firemen's training fields if need be. So that is all still in the planning stages. The village will be starting its budget process probably earlier than ever this year. As was being mentioned earlier on the call or before the call actually started, we're concerned about cost increases. There are some things that are flattening out a little bit, but we're very concerned about our budget as well. and what type of increases do we have to consider. We're assuming and the numbers we're seeing so far are that our health insurance will be going up a little bit. We thought that the retirement was going up significantly, but that right now some of the numbers we're seeing are a little bit flatter than we anticipated. However, at the same time, our sales tax revenue has come in very strong. So with that, we're hoping that will offset some things. But I am also talking with our local businesses in around the county. And again, we're all seeing the same things. It is very difficult to hire people. And I'm being asked, well, how do you combat that? And I would like to see the county work on some sort of a program. And it's sad to say, but how do we get people to understand that, it really is important to be working instead of getting a check that may be given to you. I've always prided myself on working hard and getting out every morning and going to my job. And I get fulfillment from that. I've tried to teach that to my kids and people I know. And I am concerned that there are those who could be working that are just not going back to work yet. And we have to work hard to try to turn that around. And that's a bigger subject maybe for another time, but I think it's important. And I know I'm going to vocally not be afraid to vocalize that a little bit. We need to get people go back to work. And every situation is a little bit different, but there are those who I think could do that. So with that, we're going to continue to work hard on our budgets. We have good partners in the town of Mendon and Lima and Bloomfield, especially with our ambulance, et cetera. So we're trying to make sure that we keep those numbers as flat as we can. I know our departments are all working hard to keep their actual budgets in budget line numbers as flat as they can. So I think any increases we see are going to be strictly based on costs, and not that we're inflating budgets at all based on bringing numbers up because we need more money. It's costing us more, and we have to try to keep things level without cutting things out if we don't have to. We know our residents still want their sidewalks plowed. They still want the brush picked up. They still want to see the parks clean and orderly. They want to see the playgrounds kept up and the roads paved. And, we're going to do as much as we can without raising our tax rates if we can. And we're certainly working hard to do that. So, Chris, again, I appreciate the opportunity. It's always good to see everyone. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Rick. John, Town of Mendon.
Hi, Chris, thanks for having us. As always, this is a great opportunity to share information with our residents. First of all, due to the recent activity in Afghanistan and the loss of some of our service people's lives, we have lowered the flags at the Town of Mendon facilities, and they will remain lowered for the next at least few days, probably through September 11th at this point. We also are working on our budget for 2022. Our budget year coincides with the calendar year, and we expect I will be presenting the tentative budget to the town board and the public on September 13th, 7 o'clock at the community center. At our last town board meeting, I should say our last two town board meetings ago, the military memorial committee presented to the town board. The town board scheduled a special meeting, which was held on August 23rd. The town board is going to proceed with a memorial that would be appropriate for the loss of life of the three servicemen who were involved in the helicopter crash in the town of Mendon, one being a resident of the town of Mendon. So we're going to proceed with that. The location is going to be on Semmel Road at Dreisbach Park, which is east of the highway department. One of the things that Officer Koch's widow wanted was something positive, something that she could take her children to as a positive remembrance of of their father, something positive for the community. So we have been kicking around the idea of a splash park for some time, a number of 3 or 4 years. We've been squirreling away a little bit of money here and there for it. So the town board is looking to proceed with that at that same location. There's already rectangular fields for soccer at that location. We would be putting up a pavilion. We'd have restrooms. And as I say, there would be a memorial for those 3 servicemen that were tragically killed in that helicopter crash. I would encourage participation from the public. We want to know what you think. We want to know what you think about that. If you think it's a good idea, or if you don't think it's a good idea, we still want to hear from you. We will, I'm just reading my own notes. We have a press release that'll be in the next issue of the Sentinel, and I'll be providing that to the Sentinel as soon as we get off today. And we did relight the falls and the Honeoye Falls. The lights that light the falls come from the town building, and the lights they get in rough shape because of all the mist and a lot of minerals and things from the water. No matter what we do, seem to seep into whatever light fixture we put there. So we have put some new light fixture on the building so that to light the falls. We are currently in the middle of adjusting them for the benefit of the neighbors, which always takes a little bit of time because it's hard to adjust during the daytime, and you got to kind of give it a day or two and talk to the neighbors and see what they think, and then we readjust. So the falls were dark for a while, but we have them relit now. The 9/11 memorial at the Honeoye Falls Cemetery, I will be participating in that. I encourage all to attend. That it will be on September 11th. I believe it starts around 8 a.m., coinciding with the tragic events of that time of day for that event. Mendon Firemen's Carnival is on for September 10th and 11th. Parade will be on the 11th at 12 o'clock noon. I encourage everybody to attend. The Highway Department will be doing their brush pickup this fall. I don't have any dates to announce at this point, but I will on subsequent meetings that we have here, and we'll be doing our usual fall brush pickup. School taxes for anyone, I've mentioned this before, but anybody who is in the HFL, or excuse me, in the town of Mendon, who is either in HFL or Pittsford, school districts can pay them at the town of Mendon, either in person, by mail, or in our drop box, which is on the Main Street side of the building. And lastly, our town clerk, Jim Mursky, who, if you don't know him, you've definitely probably made a check out to him. He will be retiring at the end of 2021. So if you have an opportunity to see Jim, either at town hall or around town somewhere, please feel free to wish him well in his well-deserved retirement. Again, thanks for having me, Chris, and have a great weekend, everybody.
All right. Thanks, John. Anybody else have something to add that they may have forgotten? Seeing none. Thank you all for being with us today, and reminding everybody who's out there in listening land that we're live. We broadcast this every Sunday, not live though, at 1 o'clock on our Facebook and YouTube channels, and the transcript is printed in the following week's Sentinel. So that's it for this week. We'll see you all next week. Bye-bye for now.
Imagine yourself communicating with a difference. Pan-Dimensional Solutions helps you do this. Whether live spectator events, taped broadcasts, or real-time audience-engaging programs, you can benefit immediately from the tools Pan-Dimensional Solutions will share with you. Do you want to make a difference? Contact us at pandimensional.com.